In the ancient world of the Near East, around 2000 BC, a city of towering clay brick walls stood on the banks of the Euphrates River. This was of the Chaldeans, the bustling heart of Sumerian civilization. It is here that the story of Abraham begins, in a land of unprecedented wealth and advanced technology. Far from a barren wilderness, was one of the most advanced and wealthy metropolises in the ancient world. The city boasted paved streets, multi-story brick homes with internal courtyards, and sophisticated sewage systems. Merchants traded golden jewelry, gemstones, and fine pottery imported from distant lands. Yet, beneath this material splendor lay a deep spiritual darkness. The centerpiece of was its massive ziggurat temple, built to honor Nana, the moon god. Every aspect of daily life, trade, and government was strictly centered around serving this pagan deity and countless other idols.
Look at these works of clay and stone, my son. Our family has gained great status and wealth by crafting these gods for the high priests of the temple. They are the guardians of our city, and we must honor them.
But, Father, these statues are only wood and stone, carved by human hands. They cannot hear our cries, they cannot walk, and they have no breath. How can they protect our family or rule the universe?
Ancient Jewish traditions tell of a day when Abraham took a hammer and smashed all of his father's idols, leaving the hammer in the hands of the largest statue. When his father Terah demanded an explanation, Abraham pointed out the absurdity of bowing down to objects that could not even protect themselves. It was in this environment of absolute idolatry that the true living God spoke to Abraham. God commanded him, "Go from your country, your people, and your father's household to the land I will show you." It was a call to separate himself from the pagan worldview of To leave meant leaving behind his traditional safety net. In the ancient Near East, survival depended entirely on the protection of one's family and city walls. By ordering Abraham to leave his father's house, God was teaching him to let go of material security and walk by faith alone. Abraham obeyed, traveling over 1,000 miles to the land of Canaan. Unlike the urban luxury of Canaan was a rural land of hills, valleys, and wandering nomads. But it was here that God promised to establish a new nation that would bring salvation to the entire world. However, Canaan was not empty. It was inhabited by the Canaanite tribes, who practiced a religion that had descended into extreme depravity. Their actions went far beyond simple paganism, forming a societal system that promoted cruelty, violence, and the degradation of human life. The most horrifying practice of Canaanite worship was child sacrifice, dedicated to the god Molech. A massive bronze statue of the deity, with a bull's head, would be heated by fire until its outstretched metal arms glowed red. Priests would then place living infants onto the hot metal arms to be burned. To prevent the parents from hearing the screams of their dying babies, the priests and crowds would beat drums and blow horns in a frenzy. This systemic cruelty was practiced to seek prosperity and agricultural favor from their bloodthirsty deities. In addition to child sacrifice, Canaanite worship of deities like Baal and Asherah promoted ritual prostitution. Temple priests and the general public engaged in collective sexual immorality, incest, and even bestiality as mandatory religious acts, completely destroying the societal moral boundary. Canaanite religious festivals also involved wild, chaotic rituals of self-harm. Priests would slash their own bodies with knives to invoke their gods, alongside widespread practices of witchcraft, necromancy, and spiritism, creating a culture obsessed with death and dark forces. God did not judge the Canaanites immediately. In his great patience, he waited over 400 years from the time of Abraham to the conquest of Joshua, giving the nations ample opportunity to turn from their evil. He only executed judgment when their wickedness had reached its absolute limit. The order to completely destroy the Canaanite practices was a divine act of spiritual quarantine. Like removing a terminal cancer from a body, God isolated Israel from Canaan's infectious depravity, protecting the pure lineage through which the Savior Jesus Christ would eventually be born. Later history proved the necessity of this quarantine. Israel failed to fully remove the Canaanite practices and soon fell into the same wickedness, sacrificing their own children to Molech. This disobedience eventually led to the collapse of their nation and their exile, warning us of the power of moral decay. Ultimately, the story of Abraham's departure and the judgment of Canaan reveals the character of God. While his love and patience are immense, his holiness and justice are absolute. True faith begins by departing from the old, corrupt world and walking in obedience to his voice.